All right. Where do we begin? So, we'll start pretty far back. My whole life, like, friends of mine were into, like, cars. Like, we'd be playing, like, on the street or something and be like, oh, is it a 330? No, it looks like a 328. Let me see when you get closer. And it's just like, I'm like, there's no way you knew that. You're just totally guessing. And so bought my car, luckily, by my dad, and he bought me a 1996 Honda Civic. It had no power steering and manual transmission. So he gets it. It looks super fresh. It was like super clean for its time. So I get in the car. I'm like, oh, this is so sick. I get in the car. I'm like, I see that it's a manual transmission. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how to drive this. I don't want to learn how to drive this. This is going to suck. And also it didn't have a tachometer, so that didn't help at all. But when I told my friend about it, he's like, dude, that's rad. You got a manual Civic? Like, that's sick. And I was like, really? So then when I had it, I was like, okay, I need to be smooth. I need to be smooth as butter because I don't want my friends to not want to have me drive. So I had to be super smooth. Luckily, that car is just super easy to be smooth with. It was a bit of a death trap. And to be honest, I think my parents knew that I had some loose screws. So I think they really wanted to get me a little something safer. So my mom actually a year later she wanted to buy me a Volvo. And I was like, okay, it has to be manual. Because at that point I was having so much fun with manual transmission, so it had to be manual. A little after that, one of my friends that kind of got me into cars, his friend had just got a like 1992 or something Honda CRX SI, and he was just giving it because I think he was dating someone at the time, and her dad didn't want it anymore, so he's like, here, you can just have it. I remember them bringing it in, and I was just like, this is like just for fun. This is just for fun. And they're like, yeah. And I was just like, you can do anything with this. And then like the light kind of turned on. I was like, I want a fun car. I kind of went all over the place, but I knew I wanted something cheap. And I think the first car I saw was that really, I was like, that's sick, was a Toyota MR2. It was like a 90s one or something like that. It looked like it'd be something I could own. And a friend of mine was like, well, I don't know, you don't really want mid-engine. Get something a little more orthodox. Get like a 240. And I kept hearing about 240s, but 240s were like hard to find even at this point because this was at least 2011. So it was like, okay, I don't want an MR2. I don't want to be that old. I think I wanted something inexpensively fast. The Lancer Evolution was kind of the way to go. My friend was like talking to me about it. He's like, yeah, it has all-wheel drive, so all four wheels do it. I'm like, that's sick. It's faster and it's grippier. I think I was playing a lot of Forza at the time, and I think I learned more about what all-wheel drive actually means. It's not just, 2 + 2 means more grip. Like, it's a little bit heavier in the front, especially. You go through tires faster. It's not as stylish, not in terms of like aesthetics, but in terms of like driving. You can't really pick and choose how you drive. And I was driving, the Volvo at the time, which was front-wheel drive. I knew I didn't like anything like that. So I was like, okay, well, I guess rear-wheel drive then. And I remember I was like, man, it's a shame that, because I really liked my Civic, I was like, it's a shame that Honda only made the NSX. They didn't make any other rear-wheel drive cars. And my friend's like, no, they totally did. They made the S2000. And I was just like, what the hell is that? I think I'd never heard of it at that point. And so I looked it up and I was like, whoa, this thing looks awesome. It doesn't look like super old and it doesn't look super new. Like, I could afford this. So then my budget went from, a few $1,000s for the MR2, a few more $1,000s, 12, 15, 16. And I spent a year, took out a loan from school so that I could afford to put the rest of my money on a down payment for an actual car loan. So it was like a loan on a loan. So it really wasn't smart. But I was 19. I didn't really talk to my parents about it right away. I was kind of like looking over forums, what color is out there. Also wasn't sure if they were all automatic. Like I was learning a bunch of stuff. Oh, I'm going to supercharge it. I'm going to put wheels on it, like all this stuff. And a friend of mine came into my work one day. I told him I wanted to get a fun car. And he's like, oh, what are you thinking about? I was like, oh, MR2, 240 kind of, but also the S2000. And he just goes, good car. Really? Like, yeah, I used to have a supercharged one. And I was like, oh, that sounds awesome. Like, I want to supercharge the S2000. But then, so he bought a turbo one and the motor kept blowing. And he's just like, I'm just going to return to stock. I just want to enjoy the car. And he messaged me like every day. You need to get an S2000 and it needs to be stock. Stock? Like, this was crazy to me at the time. It was getting so hard to find one in my price range. Because even back then, they were going up in price. I couldn't get one for under $15,000 unless it was fucked up. Should I get a 350Z? He's like, no. Should I get a Miata? No. Mazda Speed Miata? No. And then eventually I found a silver one. Looked good. Had the red and black interior. I knew I wanted the red and black interior. And I just hit him up and I was like, hey, I really want to buy this. I won't lie, I'm young, but I will do all the paperwork that's necessary so we can get it. And I'll try to make it as little of a hassle for you as possible. He's like, yeah, I'm game, cool. And you sound like a cool guy, like, sure. So I wanted to go look at it and he didn't let me look at the car until I had proof that I was approved for a loan. I think that was what it was. Eventually got the car and that was sick. Started going to track days, started driving all the time. Like I had a local candy by my house and I just was driving all the time. And my friends were into cars and we were just, before we knew it, was like all we did. And I started working on it a little bit myself. And then, cause I worked basically a canyon drive away from my house. So I would take the canyons every day. And it was winter. I can make up all the excuses I want and allow me while I do. It was raining that I couldn't see because there's no street lights. I was a little cocky from the track day before, like I was confident. Apparently, with the suspension in the S2000, the inside of the tires wear way faster than the outside. I didn't know that, so I was just looking at the outside. Oh, they're fine, but they were like totally bald. And yeah, put that shit in a fence. That was bad. Luckily, didn't get hurt. I was a little sore. I felt it felt so bad because everyone was telling me how dangerous this car was. When I crashed, it was like everyone echoing in my head, "You're gonna crash it. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. Like this is too much for you." All this stuff, and it was like an echo chamber in my head, and I was just like, I was super depressed for like a week. And then I went to work. How the hell am I gonna get through this shift? Because I was a server at the time. And you have to be like, ta-da, like, you know, Mr. Personality every time you're serving tables. But luckily, I had like the nicest table ever for the first table. I was like, "Hey guys, how are you?" And they're like, "We're good. How are you?" "I'm all right." And that was all. That was that. Took them 3 months to repair it. Costed $1,000 out of pocket for the deductible. The car sucked. I won't say it crab walked, but there was a shitload of problems. The ABS sensor was off. The alignment was bad. The wheels were cracked. The tires were off. Like, because they only replaced one tire. Like, it was the most corner cutting repair I'd ever seen. But I didn't care. I just wanted to drive again. So I went and bought a new set of Michelin Super Sports and just drove the shit out of it. But then after about a year, I was like, this car's broken. Like the whole car was lopsided. I called my insurance and they were like, just take it back to your shop. And I was like, I don't know if I want to take it back to the shop that did this. And they were like, okay, you can go to a different shop. So I went to another shop and they were like, oh yeah, the suspension is from like 3 different years. And I was like, ooh, not good. So like, yeah, so we can replace all the suspension. It'll be about $2,000. We'll tell your insurance. The insurance was like, I don't know about that. So they got an appraiser. The appraiser came. He's like, this thing is fucked. He found shit wrong with the car that I'd never seen. I didn't even know about. There was like dimples in the welds. It was so bad. I was like, okay, well, can we like total this out? Because I really don't think another repair is necessary. And he's like, yeah, probably. So then they called me about a week later, like, all right, we want to total it out. I was like, okay, can I buy it? And they're like, yeah, cool. Registered it as salvaged, sold it. I had a huge wall of text explaining everything that I just told you. The person was still down to buy it. I think he just wanted to have an S2000 for cheap. I found this white S2000, white with red and black interior, which was always my dream of owning. And I hadn't even talked to him, haven't even met him. I was just like, I want this car. Whatever you want for a deposit to hold on to it, I will pay it. And he was just like, yeah, just $500. I was like, cool. So gave him $500. Bought a one-way ticket the day before finals and drove it back. Total gamble. And it had this sick hardtop that I wish I could have afforded, but it was all my money to buy the car. So drove that for a long time. Drove the piss out of it. Went to the track a couple times. I won't say I did a drift event, but I participated a little bit. The clutch was so like not good that I didn't want to keep riffing on it. Started recording videos with it. The best car in the world. But then it kind of became cursed. I couldn't repair the motor. I have like a ton of videos online of me trying to fix it, and I tried doing valve adjustments. I got the whole motor rebuilt. I went to Honda, went to all these S2000 race shops, went on forums. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with the motor, why it would run like shit, stall, misfire. It was just bad. So I was like, okay, this thing's cursed. Luckily, I repaired it enough to where it didn't really give me any problems for like at least a couple months, and I sold it. The guy hasn't messaged me about any problems, but I told him about the history of the car. I have all the paperwork, so I mean, there you go. But it was sad. I was super bummed. It was also when I got my shoulder surgeries, which I have videos too. We'll put them right here. How's that? Actually, is that not even a thing you can do anymore? I probably can't even do that, but we'll point right here and pretend that there's a link. I wasn't getting disability money anymore, so I really couldn't afford to live anymore, so I had to sell the car. But during that time, someone goes up to me and he's like, hey, I have some cars for sale if you want. I was like, yeah? He's like, yeah, I have a Volvo V70 wagon. And I was like, neat, that's pretty cool. And then he tells me that he has a Miata, probably worth like $1,000. Like, I don't know. Is it manual? Is it automatic? And he's like, oh, it's manual. Okay, is it like, I have a ton of miles? No, it's like, it has like 95,000 miles. Shit, okay. Is it clean title? Yeah. I was like, all right, I'll buy it. And then he's a smart guy. He found out how much it was actually worth. And I was like, okay, I don't want to buy it for that much, but I can help you sell it because I've sold a bunch of cars on Craigslist. And he's like, he's an older guy and he doesn't want to waste his time with, you know, that kind of thing. He was like, yeah, sounds good to me. So sold it for him, made a little bit of money. But when I drove it, I realized it was honestly almost as fun as my S2000 for way less money. And then I started thinking, okay, how could I make this work? So I was doing some homework and I knew I wanted a VVT motor. So it had to be at least 2001 or newer. So it had to be with a certain sport package. And the sport package would give you a limited slip differential. And that's pretty much all I wanted. The problem is also I didn't want it any newer than 2002 because after 2003, the limited slip differential started getting outsourced to, it's called Tochigi Fuji. But here's the problem. Every car that had the upgraded sport package had the 6-speed transmission. That sounds like a better deal, but that was also outsourced. The 5-speed was like a Mazda original. It just feels super good. And then the gearing isn't even that much better in the 6-speed. So I was like, cool. I mean, I'll shoot for the 5-speed. Lo and behold, 4 Miatas later, one of them has a funny story. But so one of them was a yellow one that was salvaged. It was really cool. Made me realize that there was another color than just white, green, whatever, black. There was a yellow, but a special order color where you had to go onto the internet in 2001 on Mazda's website, order it specially, and only like 250 people did. I was like, that's kind of neat. I like yellow, sure. So that was salvaged. There was one that was red that was asking like $8 grand, and it had like 100,000 miles, and it was someone that was a little too connected to the car. You can't sell a car and be like that emotionally connected to it, because someone's not going to give you what you think it's worth. There was a white one that was perfect, other than the fact that it was bashed in on every corner. it was a piece of shit, so I just didn't want to buy it. And it was hard for me not to buy it because I've been looking for a long time, and that one looked perfect on the pictures at least. The fourth one was another white one, had a cloth interior. It wasn't like an upgraded leather package. 5-speed with the sport package. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I'm super down for this. I'd rather have the cloth than the black. It looks, I don't know, a little more slick. Wanted to test drive it. They ghosted me. A year and a half later, it shows up. I go and test drive it. I connect with the person. I'm pretty sure they might have recognized me. They might have like been like, have you texted me before? Look at the pink slip. It's an 03. And I was like, oh my God, dude, how many times is this gonna fucking happen? So I decided not to buy it. So at this point, I was like super open. I'm like, I'm just gonna go finance an FRS or something, even though I have no money. I just really want to have a fun car because I can't skateboard anymore, can't drum anymore, can't really do much of anything, can't even really play games that much. Lo and behold, one night this yellow one shows up in Vegas because I had a Craigslist app. It's called C+, and you can search dozens of separate Craigslists because it's separated by county. So I was able to search like Santa Barbara, San Diego, San Francisco, San Luis Obispo, Ventura, all the way up to Oregon, Nevada. Sometimes I went all the way to Texas because I was like really desperate. One shows up in Vegas with 65,000 miles, yellow, and I recognized the shift knob because I'd been looking for 5-speeds this whole time. I was like, and I messaged him. I was like, hey, is this a 5-speed? He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. And I was like shaking. My girlfriend was here and I was just like, okay, I have to do this right. I can't piss off this guy. I need this car. He was asking a perfect price for it. It was like $6,900. Had the OEM hardtop, upgraded coils, wheels, all this stuff. I knew that someone else in the world definitely wanted this Miata as much as I did. Conveniently, I didn't have a job. A friend of mine that was also interested in NB Miatas also didn't have a job. He was between jobs. So I was like, hey man, I can't drive manual right now with my shoulder surgery being so recent. Would you like to go to Vegas with me? Totally thinking he wouldn't be down. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. I was like, Wednesday? And he's like, Wednesday? I was like, oh my God. Okay, we have to do this. Went and checked it out. And for goddamn once, the plans lined up. There was nothing wrong with it. Ran perfect. The AC worked. The radio worked. And then I bought it. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole, I guess, my whole car story. There's really not, I guess there's not much more to say. I, can't drive it for a while, but I wanted a fun car. I really missed having a car just for fun. I was dailying a Prius for a long time, which I actually really like, but there is something numbing about driving a Prius every day where you kind of forget what it feels like to have fun in a car. It's just super chill. It's too chill, that's all. Bought stock wheels, stock suspension. I'm gonna be returning to stock. I'm more like, I'm more into driving than I am into like, looking cool or whatever. And I think a good way to kind of learn about your chassis, your motor, pretty much everything other than, the suspension and tires is to leave it stock. Even a Miata, because it was designed a certain way, a certain form of driving in mind. And I guess I kind of want to tap into that. And then if I want to make adjustments after that, then I make adjustments. Because I think it's kind of silly to start off with like slammed coils and super wide sticky tires. You're not really learning anything about the car. You're just kind of fucking around, which is cool too, but it's just not my style. But yeah, I'm probably going to be buying more tools so I can work on it. But right now it just has temporary registration, so I'm just kind of letting it sit for a while. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching and listening to my ass rant for God knows how long. Keep in touch, I guess, because I'll probably be making some videos about it. I don't know what about, maybe how to do certain stuff. And yeah, till next time. Is that a thing? Can I do that? Till next time, YouTube.